Welcome to Good News from St. Andrew's, Guelph. I'm Reverend John Borthwick, the minister here at St. Andrew's. We're excited to share this episode with you this week. Now, I heard recently that we have reached all the way into Brantford. Hello, Brantford. Great to have you with us today. And to use some traditional churchy kind of language, I had no idea that our mission field reached as far as to Brantford. And that brings me to this question for this week. What is mission? You hear churches talking about mission all the time. You hear it in the corporate world as well. It's a bit different there. But in churches, we talk about mission a lot. Maybe let me start to answer this question by talking a little bit about what mission isn't, or maybe a little judgy of what mission shouldn't be. You see, I think in the church over the years, we've gotten hooked into this idea of our mission is to kind of reach out to people who are in need, who are kind of less than us. We've had missionaries who've went to other countries and other places to bring and share good news, just like we're doing, all the way as far as Brantford. But within that sharing, there was something a little odd and interesting and challenging and distressing, especially for someone who lives in the 21st century. Because what happened was often people would go to those spaces and places with a mindset of superiority, a mindset that what I have and who I am and the way I live my life and everything else is somehow more valuable, a better way, a more civilized way of being. And somehow they took that on to mean that the people that they were interacting with weren't at the same level, and that their mission was to bring them into that kind of fold of a way of life and a way of being culturally, not spiritually, culturally, that would make them a little bit better, but still this superiority still existed. So mission often was seen as something where one would go and do things for those unfortunates, that one would share and give something, often in a hand-me-down kind of way, to those folks who just didn't have what we had. And that's really not what mission should really be all about. So what is it? Well, in the Presbyterian Church in Canada and here at St. Andrew's, we value something called partnership. Now, that's not to say that over our history and even in some of the practices that we do now, we're still trying to keep our awareness and our view of what we do. Is it still about partnership? Is there something misguided or distorted about what we're doing or the motivation for why we're doing it? But this partnership idea has actually been promoted and put forward in a document from the Presbyterian Church in Canada that talks about our mission principles. And it specifically talks about what partnership is. And I think the language they've got and what they've done with this is really helpful. So let me share that with you today as we think about mission. So mission is really about partnership, and partnership, as the document around mission principles of the Presbyterian Church in Canada talks about around partnership, says it's a mutual thing. It's not a one-way kind of thing. And I'll tell you just a little story as I just land on that first principle around it's not a one-way thing. I've had the privilege of traveling in our world a couple of times. I've been able to go to Ghana, West Africa. I was able to go to Central America and to El Salvador. And tragically enough, in both of those locations, I visited places and spaces where people from North America, Canada, the US, came on a mission trip. And they did something. They built something. So in one particular occasion, I was in a small village in El Salvador, and there was this beautiful building within the village. And the group that I was with said, "Oh, what's that building? It looks really like brand new." And they said, oh yeah, that's a brand new building. It was built by a variety of engineers who came for a week or so from the US. They came, they built it. It's a medical center. And we were like, wow, that's great. Like, looks like state of the art kind of thing. It's different from everything else in the building. And they said, yeah, it doesn't get any use though. Oh, well, why not? Well, the village doesn't have any money to provide for a doctor or nurses or staff or medical supplies. Oh. So a nice building was built, and the people who participated in that project probably felt great that they were doing something and giving something to that community. But there was a disconnect, there was a break, there was not a mutuality. Was this what this community really needed? Were there some systemic barriers to doing something you thought would be great, having a great building that was going to be called the medical center? But some of the systemic issues were there was no sustainable funding to provide for the services that one would hope would exist in the medical center. That's not mutuality. Another principle fosters independence and self-reliance. It doesn't serve our need to do good. Yeah, because sometimes that's our motivation. In the church, that's been our motivation. We just want to feel good, so we're going to do this. We need to really check what our motivation really is. Is it about fostering independence and self-reliance? Is it about creating some kind of dependence of another group? That's not a good principle when it comes to partnership. Is a trusting and transparent relationship. There's no hidden agendas, and we're not using our resources, our power, our money in a manipulative kind of way. Now, you might push back a little and say, well, what do you mean? Like, how would that happen? Well, sometimes in situations where there's a power differential, where someone feels really beholden to an organization or to a group of people, they lose their capacity to feel mutual in that relationship. They fear that maybe you might take away what they need to survive based on them not doing exactly what you want. That's where the trust needs to be built, that it's not about that kind of thing. And there's some transparency. There's no sort of hidden agenda related to, we're doing this for you so that down the road you'll do something for us. That's not mission. Now, it's a witness to the gospel. That's one of the principles, meaning, it's we're trying to share the good news, but we're within that good news we're sharing is we're acknowledging there's a brokenness in our world. There's a need for a reparation, a redeeming, to use a big churchy word, of some of the things that have gone wrong in our world. And we want to bear witness to that. We want to be a part of making the world a different place, transforming the world so that everyone can experience a fullness of life. And it respects the partner. Both partners respect each other, but it's a respecting relationship of the context the partner finds themselves in. It's not paternalistic. It's also a relationship where sometimes we're the guest, and at other times we might be the host, but we're not the host all the time. There is this, again, mutuality, this relationship, this trusting, this building of a relationship of partnership. And most of all, it involves people. As best as we can, as much as we can, we have to be doing mission in a way that builds actual relationships between people. It isn't just about giving your money away. It isn't just about giving hand-me-downs away. It's about putting a human face on partners. Because the more we know each other and get to know each other, the more that trust can be built. The more we're thinking of the individuals, the families, the community that we serve, that we know, and they know us, as opposed to just sending something far away and having no real connection to that. That's not mission. Now at St. Andrews, we have these things called shared values, and you can find them on our website. Our shared values, one of them is called partnership, and we've sought over the years of serving this community to develop long-standing partnerships with people, to build relationships of trust. Because truth be told, the Christian church, Presbyterian church, people like me, ministers, we don't have a huge load of trust in the communities that we serve. There's been a lot of things that the Christian church has been a part of that it isn't necessarily my fault or this church's fault or individual Christians' fault or even individual denominations, but we have all participated in some way in something that has left the world that we are a part of feeling that I'm a little hesitant in getting into a relationship with the Christian church or Christians or a minister or whatever. So we need to figure out how we build those relationships and those partnerships where trust can be nurtured. And so our shared value around partnership, we say this. We say that Jesus modeled that we are not in this journey alone. We believe that we do our best when we work together, and we seek to build lasting relationships of mutual respect and trust throughout God's creation. That's how we at St. Andrews try to bring the good news and try to do mission in the world that we find ourselves. So today, it's actually the service from Sunday, which is our Mission Awareness Sunday. And it's from May the 2nd. It's last week I was actually on vacation, so I wasn't a part of the service in person this past week. I tried to take a little COVID vacation, whatever that looks like. It's not the same, I can tell you. But I had the opportunity to pre-record a Zoom review with an amazing and fantastic leader within our local community. Vicky is the new, relatively, executive director of Chalmers Community Services Center, one of our mission partners here at St. Andrews in Guelph. Had the opportunity to have a fantastic conversation with her. You are in for a treat to hear what she has to say. It was amazing. Our Mission and Outreach Coordinating Committee, whom we call MOC, and the Women's Missionary Society, or the WMS, planned and led this service today. And I just hope that you'll see a glimpse of one of our mission partners and some of the insights that come from Vicky. Just amazing. So, may your day be filled with more good news than bad.